Welcome back to Mallory Park. This Motors TV live race day about to have on track. There they are, the cars for the second Drayton Manor Park MG Metro Cup race of the day. Cracking first race for them, a 10-minute race. Same again in prospect. Tom Sanderson starts on pole position as the race 1 winner. His first win of the season. Tom Granger, the 17-year-old, took second place. He'll line up with him on the front of the grid. And Tony Howe, veteran Metro Turbo racer, took third, his best result in a little while. He'll start on the inside of row 2 alongside Paul Ashton. Two drivers to watch in this who were battling for the race lead early on and then went rally crossing are Neil Gardner, who will start on the 4th row of the grid, and hopefully on the grid is going to be a man that's had 2 race wins this year, Mike Williams. I say hopefully because we lost him on the very last lap of the first race. And assuming his car is all good for race 2, he's certainly going to be one to watch. On board with Mark Bellamy, twice a runner-up in the championship, and the cars making their way round Gerrards then. David Addison and Joe Twyman here at Mallory Park trackside, ready for another cracking race, Joe. The first one was very entertaining for good low-cost one-make racing, and it gave a really, really good race. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a couple of messages from some friends. Alex Lynn, who's racing in British Formula 3 this year, he was very excited by the Metro race. Now, Tony Howe, I mentioned a little while ago, as somebody who has been racing Metros for a long time, and he's going to be a granddad next week. His daughter Sarah watching at home and cheering him on. So good luck for the race, Tony, and good luck for grandparent duties as well. As long as it doesn't get in the way of racing Metros, that should all be fine, shouldn't it? He's on the 2nd row of the grid and could well be a winner in this. He's not had an outright win for a little while. Maybe it's going to be a good few days to start celebrating important things like a win and then a grandchild. So the cars work their way into the S's. Tom Sanderson is the man who will start on pole position. He was very, very strong in that first race. He was under huge pressure all the way through, but he didn't put a wheel wrong. Came through to take the race win. And Tom Sanderson, who is with the later Rover Metro GTI, the original MG Metros and MG Metro Turbos are in the entry as well. This is one of the later cars that sits on pole position. With him is Tom Granger, motorsport engineering student from Sidcup, on the outside of the front row. In his first year of car racing, and a battle about to generate again between those two drivers. So here we go, 10 minutes ahead of us for race 2 for the Drayton Manor Park MG Metro Cup. And as the two Toms turn their way now out of the Devil's Elbow, on the inside in the white car for pole position is Tom Sanderson. Alongside him, Tom Granger. The 2nd row, the yellow peril of Tony Howe. And then the green and black car of Paul Ashton is alongside. So we go racing now. The safety car peels off. We're in business. The cars accelerate down towards Gerrards for the first time. And a good getaway made by Tom Sanderson. Trouble is Tom Granger matches him and goes round the outside, heading into the first corner. He's done it. Off goes number 14, which is Mark Bellamy, complete with the onboard camera. And he's heading for the mud. He's heading for the barriers. Thankfully, no harm done. But a tremendous move that by Tom Granger to go round the outside to grab the race lead through the first corner. There's somebody off there. Look, that looks like it's Tim Davis, who's back on the track. Scatters cars all over the place. They've all avoided him. Just the orange car there you saw darting around in David James in the ex-Peter Baldwin orange Metro Turbo. So a frantic first lap, Joe, heading up to the hairpin. Absolutely. I think there were 4 abreast going down the straight there at one point. Fantastic. Mark Bellamy's got back into the race. Tony Howe coming under pressure. Look, I think Jonathan Woodcock is the man attacking him. Yes, he is, coming out of the hairpin. So from round the outside at Gerrards to get the race lead, now through the Devil's Elbow, it's Tom Granger this time that leads the way. David James goes through there, the orange car we talked about. And 28, we've seen him. That was the other driver to watch, Mike Williams. He's on the grid and he's working his way up the order. Certainly a man to watch. Leaders go through. Granger to Sanderson is 4/10 of a second. And Neil Gardner 6th at the end of lap 1. He is a man to look for in car 88, the yellow and blue car, and white and blue the livery of number 28, Mike Williams, who's a little bit further down with more work to do. Now, of course, in a 10-minute race around Mallory Park, if you start way down on the grid, you've not got much time to do a great deal. But Tony Howe is doing good things. Look, he's gone 2nd, and that looked like quite an easy pass going down towards the S's. Did. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Just literally drove around the outside of him. Just breezed by, didn't he? Yeah, very easy. Now, Tony, with grandfatherhood beckoning, is this going to be a race win for him? Let's see. He turns out of the hairpin. He's in 2nd place, and the cars now sprint their way down to the Devil's Elbow. So this is the end of lap number 2, and the race leader, Tom Granger. But Tom Sanderson not being able to come back at Granger previously, and he's not being able to stay now with Tony Howe for 2nd place. Another slippery surface flag there. Is that oil or is that mud that's been brought onto the circuit by the recovering Mark Bellamy, I wonder? There's some mud.
think.
Yeah, that's Neil Gardner going through. He was one of the drivers that went off at that part of the circuit in the first race. And he's on the tail now of Paul Ashton. Now, Mike Williams has done the best lap of the race. He is currently in 10th spot. He's at the back of the train of cars that was just going out of Gerrard's on that last shot. For the lead, though, Tony Howe dives for the inside. Can't find a way through there, but a big slide there for Tom Granger. That was the save of the day.
It's fantastic. Well, these front-wheel drive cars, they get out of shape, and all you've got to do is keep your foot pinned, and hopefully they come back round.
It certainly did, but it delayed Tony Howe, and so now Tom Sanderson has got up there with him. There's a car on the grass. Look over the hairpin in the background. Tony Howe is being attacked. He's also attacking as they come out of the Devil's Elbow. He's going to be up alongside Granger as they go past the pits. Has the Turbo Metro got enough grunt in a straight line? Yes, it has. But can he go all the way round on the outside? No, is the answer. Tony thinks better of it, tucks back in and looks for a tighter line through the corner. But look now, Sanderson is coming back at them. So it's 3 for the lead, and Tony Howe has got to attack and defend at the same time.
Absolutely. I think he should be focusing on trying to get past Granger, because we've got Sanderson catching right back up on them as well. So I think focus on what you're doing in front of you rather than looking in your mirrors, because otherwise it's going to give Granger a chance to get away.
Indeed so, and in fact it's Sanderson third, but also Jonathan Woodcock's yellow car fourth, not a million miles back. Then Paul Ashton in 5th place, and Neil Gardner 6th, and having a go on the inside, and Howe goes wide, and up the inside comes Sanderson. 2nd place overlap as they come out of the hairpin. Tony Howe clipping the curb there, has got the inside line for the next corner, and he keeps 2nd place. And there, 6th, you saw the yellow and blue car. That's Neil Gardner, who led briefly in race 1, remember, until he went rally crossing at Gerrard's. Well, he's back in the hunt now as the leaders come over the line. Granger has 0.6 of a second in hand, but Tony Howe is a bit busy defending that 2nd place, isn't he? Gardner to the inside to get past Paul Ashton there as they dive into Gerrard's. And I don't think that's going to quite work either, because drifting, oh, it might do. Drifting wide is Ashton, and Gardner tries to get up alongside him. Door closed, though. Great racing, this.
Absolutely, it's fantastic.
Where does Tony Howe make his move, if he can, for the race lead? He's managed to fend off Sanderson again for the next couple of corners. And now Mike Williams is doing a great job. There he is, up in 7th. And remember, he started 24th on the grid. Absolutely flying. Tony Howe trying to go for the race lead. Looks up the inside, couldn't do it. Tom Sanderson goes to the outside. And while they're battling like this, Mike Williams is catching up at over a second a lap. Can he win the race? 5 minutes to go. He's almost with them from 24th on the grid at half distance. Drive of the day, this tremendous effort. Mike Williams now, look, coming through the left-hander at the Devil's Elbow over the timing line. And this lap that he's about to complete, let's just see the lap time for it. He's quicker than everybody ahead of him. He's hunting them down. They go now through the long right of Gerrard's. Trouble in the pit lane, I'm afraid. 45 there. That was Simon Wilson's car. Regional manager for a pub company chain. Needs a drink now, I think, to drown his sorrows. He's going no further. Tony Howe weaving one way and then the other to get past this very wide car of Tom Granger. Now, unless Granger has another of those wild moments at the S's, he's not going to be displaced in a hurry here. And Neil Gardner, look, at the back of that group has just gone 5th, and they're still being caught by Mike Williams. Tony Howe to the outside line at the hairpin, but that doesn't work, and he then leaves the door wide open, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He leaves himself exposed. And you look, I think Sanderson is now right up on the tail of Howe.
Paul Ashton back round the outside there of Neil Gardner. They come side by side out of the Devil's Elbow. On the inside, the green and black car is Paul Ashton. Look in the background, and behind all of them, Mike Williams in the blue and white car is closing up. He's done another best lap of the race as Williams, and round the outside goes Neil Gardner. That gives him 5th place, so he's done it. He's made the move. Can he hang on to it? All the while, Mike Williams is getting closer and closer and closer. He's done the best lap of anybody in the race so far. He's almost with this long line of 6 for the race lead. Here he comes, down now towards the S's. And of course, because he's not having to defend from anybody, Joe, he can take the optimum line and have the quickest lap around the circuit.
Absolutely, he's not fighting with anybody. He's not in any traffic, and he's just got a clear road in front of him to try and reel in the leaders, and he's doing a very good job of trying to do that as well.
Absolutely, and he can see them as well, which spurs him on that little bit more.
Absolutely, he's got the target in sight.
But he's only got 3 more minutes of the race to go. The leaders go across the line, and now Tony Howe has done the best lap of the race, faster than anybody, so 0.2 of a second back he is from Tom Granger. The 17-year-old is ahead of a man that's about to become a grandfather. Out of Gerrard's they go. In 3rd place, Tom Sanderson. And now Neil Gardner 5th. In fact, as he crossed the timing line, he did an even better lap than that of Tony Howe. So he's now got the fastest lap of the race to his credit. He's about to make a move against Woodcock for 4th, and here is Howe for the lead, and there's contact, and Tony backs out of that wisely. Tom Granger's car suddenly seemed to grow wider when nobody expected it to there. Joe, what do you think?
I didn't see a right-hand turn there. It seemed to turn right.
Bit naughty maybe of Tom Granger. Tony Howe, very experienced, knows when to back out of things like that. Had that been the last lap, it might have been different. But anyway, he comes out of the hairpin, still second. And Mike Williams in the background is getting closer and closer and closer. There's the race 1 winner, Tom Sanderson. Up until Mallory Park, the wins have been shared across Neil Gardner and Mike Williams. Looks like we're going to have some different winners today. We've had one in the person of Tom Sanderson. Is it going to be Granger or Howe to win this? 2 more minutes remain. Onto the step straight, number 94, the race leading car is that of Tom Granger, and Tony Howe is right up with him once again to try to find a way past. Looks to the outside line this time, but he can't do so, and there are back markers up the road as well that they're going to come across pretty shortly. 1 minute and 3/4 remains of this race. Another lively race, and a bit of a flash of the headlights there from Tom Granger at the traffic to say, please don't impede me. Race leader at the hairpin. 2nd, Tony Howe behind him in the yellow car. 3rd is the race 1 winner, the mainly white car, Tom Sanderson, as they head now into the Devil's Elbow once again. Great effort being put in by Tom Granger. The 17-year-old motorsport engineering student comes across the line, and the gap that he's got over Tony Howe is just 0.2 of a second. More encouragement offered from the pit wall. Back markers try as best they can to get out of the way. Tony Howe's wife, you saw, urging him on there from the pit wall. So, onto the step straight they come. Can Tony Howe score a long overdue race win? It's been a long time between them. He's tantalisingly close to doing it, but Tom Granger's car, once again, Joe, gets wide on the step straight.
Absolutely. It looks like Howe's got the pace, though. Seems to be all over Granger down the straight there.
If only he could find a gap, if only he could find the room. What about at the hairpin? Trying to force a mistake out of the race leader. I suppose wide in and tight out might be an option, but as they come into the corner, it's Tom Sanderson, 3rd, who closes right up onto the back of Tony Howe, and that's only going to distract him because he'll have to start defending again.
Absolutely. He'll be in his mirrors now, looking at what's going on behind, and potentially take his eye off the ball with Granger, who's out in front. But looking at it, he's actually got a better run going down into Gerrard's. Very excitable wife there.
The Howe family in vocal form. We're on the last lap of the race. Tony Howe then. It's not for lack of encouragement that he's not in the lead of the race, is it? So they go through Gerrard's. Tony, who, as I said earlier on in the day, raced Metro Turbos in the BRDC run, Club Metro Challenge, many, many years ago, and has kept the car and has raced it strongly ever since. He's going to have a go-zy on the outside. He's got to do something here, because otherwise Tom Sanderson will get past him. Into the S's they come. Granger still leads. Big squeal of tyres as he flings the car into the S's, and Tony Howe is having to defend because here comes Tom Sanderson up alongside him. Tony Howe is on the inside there, and Sanderson's going to try to go around the outside of at least 1, maybe 2, which he does, and he runs way, way wide at the hairpin. Tony Howe's golden chance is now on the inside. Can he get the grunt coming out of the corner? He tries. There's a gap, but again Tom Granger repels him into the Devil's Elbow. Tom Sanderson's on the inside. It's going to be a virtual dead heat for 2nd. No, Sanderson's done it. He's gone by. Here they come up towards the line. The checkered flag is waved, and it's a win for Tom Granger by 0.2 of a second. Tom Sanderson is 2nd by 1/10 of a second, and Tony Howe finishes 3rd. 4th goes the way of Neil Gardner. Mike Williams 5th from 24th on the grid, and Jonathan Woodcock 6th. What a race.
Fantastic. Yeah,
brilliant stuff.
I'd love to get in one of those and have a drive around. It'd be fantastic fun, I think.
Well, I'm sure if anybody from the Metro Cup is listening, Joe, they will head up the stairs for you. And, from BMW Z4 GT3 to a Metro, not much of a change. Tom Granger, great drive that. He managed to fend off Tony Howe. Apart from that, just one slightly questionable move when he didn't give Tony a great amount of room on the step straight. Others are still in strife right at the very end. Look there, Justin Marsden, the company director, recovering at the hairpin after a bit of a moment. So we had the leading 3 cars covered by 0.3 of a second when they came over the line. Impressive stuff. And it goes to show that it doesn't need the most modern of machinery to provide good, close racing. The Metro Cup bears that out, so does the 2CV Challenge. We'll see shortly. Tom Granger wins from Tom Sanderson. Tony Howe finishes 3rd. Neil Gardner recovering for 4th. Mike Williams 5th from 24th. And Jonathan Woodcock is in 6th. So the Drayton Manor Park MG Metro Cup runners have done us proud here at Mallory Park. 2 cracking races. Still lots more good racing to come. We've got the Intermark next. We've got more from the Monoposto and the Citroen 2CV, and indeed modified MG Midget and Sprite drivers as well before the end of the day here at Mallory. So more good racing to enjoy. But Tom Granger adds his name to the list of winners for the season. The 2 Toms take a win apiece and their first victories of the season. The 17-year-old gets out of the car, hands crash helmet to mum, and can celebrate a victory here at Mallory Park by a very narrow margin. 0.239 of a second, that was all that covered the top 2. And poor old Tony Howe tried as hard as he possibly could, and then on the last couple of corners he gets mugged and falls to 3rd place. Let's hear then from the winner, Tom Granger. He's with Jenny.
Yeah, Tom, your mum came excitedly running over to you, grasped you, lifted you up. You must feel on top of the world.
Yeah, first win, so what a time to do it, you know. Got a bit close at some of the points during the race, but, you know, I don't really know what to say.
Speechless. Mum, that doesn't happen very often, does it? No, she said, no, it doesn't happen very often. You showed, though, in the first race how much potential you had. You're unlucky not to win, but in this one, you really went out there and raced open wheel and gave it all you could.
Yeah, in the first one, I was lucky to finish where I did because obviously the 2 leaders, I don't really know what happened, but they came off. And in that one, I said to myself, oh, I've got a good chance, I might as well give it a go. But yeah, I won my class as well, so done well.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to bring your mum in because I know she wants to celebrate. We're going to bring in some champagne and then I'll go on, Mum. Go and celebrate with your son. Brilliant achievement here.
Well done. Perfect. Well done. Okay. Well done. I'll take the drink.
I'll take the drink, says Mum. Yeah, no wonder she wanted to join in the celebration. Just make sure she had a hand on the champagne. Great drive. Tom Granger victorious here at Mallory Park, and coming up very shortly,